Well, hello and good morning. Happy party people. Welcome to YouTube Live Thursdays here on our Unlock Your Brilliance channel. My wife is texting me. So today, like every Thursday, we get together, we answer your questions, but I talk on a specific topic. And today, what I'm going to talk about is how to live your dreams right now, starting now, not waiting for that someday when everything lines up, and also how sort of not to force it. And I also just want to say, a lot of people have been watching these YouTube lives, and I never mention, hey, subscribe to the channel, but by all means, um, go down and subscribe to the channel if you're watching this video later. I would love to, let you know when we have a new video, and just so you can see it. And so you can also stay in this sort of divine flow, right? I'd say when you're on this channel, you're spending time in this you're listening to a message that's not coming from your normal mind, right? You're not listening to a message that is um, on that frequency of the voice that's relentlessly pushing you, but then also tearing you down out of fear, out of some sense of protection. So, so listen to the videos and get into that, sort of, this is a dumb way to say it, but get washed clean in that spiritual space. I have a video that I want to do coming up that is just like this soothing, speaking from the other dimension, just kind of relaxing into it, which I plan to do soon. But for today, we're talking about how do you live your dreams today and not just wait for that someday that may or may not happen. And I'm talking about this today because I'm very actively engaged in this myself, and so I can give you a lot of really good sort of pointers from that place. So, what I want to start with is I did a living your bucket list workshop a month or so ago, and it was really valuable. It was valuable for the people who participated. It was valuable for me as a good reminder that I'm not a big believer in just having this sort of vision. I'm a big believer in living in the spirit of that vision on a daily basis. So how do you do that? So there was a crisis that came for me at around age 40 where I realized, gosh, I am not doing this filmmaking thing that I set out to do in my life. It's not happening. I'm not showing up for it. And I was very upset at the people in my life because I felt they weren't supportive. And I had this moment where I realized, wait a minute, who's not supporting me? It was me that was not supporting me. That's what was happening. And so I said, well, how can I support myself? And I realized I don't have the energy to put out there to like go out and make films because it takes a lot of energy and industry and hustle to do that. And I didn't have the money at the time. But what I could do is show up every day and write. That I could do. And so that's what I did. And so I began writing a screenplay page a day. And at first it was just random screenplay pages, just to write something. But I got in the flow of the writing. And then what would happen is I would get an inspiration. And because I was so in the flow of writing, that I was so in the flow of writing that when an idea came, I could jot it down instantly. And so thus began my sort of 10-year journey. And I became a professional screenwriter as a result of taking that action on a daily basis. For about 10 years, I wrote every day. And a lot of days it was just that one page. And then there were days where I worked on it harder, right? Because it became more of just like this showing up and it became this sort of occupation. But I will say that turning something into a job can kind of ruin it. Everybody knows what a job feels like. Some days you feel like doing it, some days you don't feel like doing it, right? So that's just part of the deal. But what I was able to do was I was able to change that entire narrative because I was showing up for myself every day. That was important. That was critical. And that changed the energy. And so this how do you show up every day? So in the bucket list thing, everybody looked at what are the things that I want to do in my life? And almost everybody had some form of travel. And so the very easy way to do this is you set up a travel fund. And some people objected right off, and this is when I know that I'm talking to somebody's disease, where somebody says, whoa, 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 wait, I don't have any money to be setting aside. It's like there's only ever two voices talking out of your mouth at any given point. There's the voice of God, spirit, truth, or there's the voice of the ego, the critical, the judgmental, the afraid. And that's it. And so that voice is coming from that afraid place. That is a part that is activated. And so that same person, said, "Oh, well, it's like, okay, I can shove a few dollars in here every there." So she got a jar and it was like this big Disneyland fund to take her grandkids to Disneyland. Like, how cool is that? And so when you have that fund and when you've created that and you have money going in, even if it's $1 a week, and you see it growing, you'll be surprised because you'll come back. And the best thing to do is set it like on an automatic drip where you have it taken out of your bank account. It just gets put in there. And you come back, 3 or 4 months later and you go, God, there's $200 in there. It's like you can start to see that trip you're going to take. So, we're going to Europe, not this summer because we're going to Hawaii this summer. And so next summer we're going to Europe, which we've always wanted to go to Europe. So it's like, okay. And so there's a different feeling, and this is the really important part. It's not even so much about going to Europe, right? It's having a different feeling about your life when you have that fund and where you're taking actions toward it. So that's the key thing. So right now I'm in the middle of creating a short film. And so I did some things around this that were very good in terms of living my dream and living my vision. So for those of you who don't know me that well, I built 2 6-figure businesses, became an award-winning motion graphics artist, and I became an award-winning commercial director. And then I've also helped a lot of other people do the things that they love in their life, right? And so, sorry, people keep texting me. I get distracted. So, but, right, it's like, okay, so it's like I've achieved these things and I did all these things as a result of showing up and doing the things that I'm talking about, taking these daily actions, showing up, putting myself out there in marketing, etc., in a very small daily kind of way. And if you go to my free community that I have called Unblock Your Brilliance, there are free courses on there that teach you how to create these small little goals that are very doable and very accomplishable, and how to do them consistently. And they build and they grow into something powerful. It's like the little seed that you plant that becomes this gigantic tree, right? So I'm making a short film. Now, the last time I made a short film, it was really a disaster. I was unprepared. I was forcing, I was pushing. And what's different about it this time is I've been working on it over the last couple months, but now we've kicked into high gear. We actually shoot in less than a week. We start shooting in 4 days, right? So I'm actively pursuing this. And what's great about it is I'm showing up in a different way than I ever have before. And the reason that it's different is because the reason I had so much trouble around filmmaking, and this is what's going to be kind of a universal thing, I'm guessing for a lot of you, is I had this notion that I was this loser. Despite the successes that I had, I didn't really feel like I could do it. So that's one. I can't do it. This is a pretty universal part. And I want to talk about that part for a minute because it's probably the part that has stopped me more than any other part in my life in terms of doing the things that I really want to do. So the part comes from that child in me and potentially in you that was kind of all alone in a crazy situation. I had a father who was an abusive rageaholic, right? And so I was living in that situation. I couldn't go to my mom for help because she was living in the same kind of terror and she was checked out. And I couldn't really go to school and say, "Hey, my dad's beating me," or I didn't feel like I could. I thought about it. So I was kind of alone and I had to figure out how to survive this situation. And of course, I never really felt comfortable. My dad was 6'1", 200 pounds. He was like this big, tough guy. So I grew up in the fear of, how am I going to survive this? I can't survive this. And if you've been on my channel, then you know we continually recreate the emotional environment of our childhood. That's what we're unconsciously doing all the time. And so the emotional environment of my childhood is, I can't do this. I can't survive. I'm terrified. And so this is what I recreate growing up. And so in the realm of narrative filmmaking, see, it's different when it's my story. When it's my story to tell, then I'm really afraid and I'm scared and I think people will judge me. And these are the feelings that I've been working on, right? So one is I can't do it. And so the good thing about this is really important. It's really important to find out what you can do every day. So if you want to paint, then paint a little bit every day. And the key is to make it such a small thing. You keep backing up the habit that you're trying to create in a small enough way where you keep doing it. So if you say, people come to me and they say, "Hey, I want to meditate." I'm like, "Great." I go, "How long do you want to meditate for?" 10 minutes. I go, "Okay, great. Don't start at 10 minutes because if you start at 10 minutes, you're going to meditate for 3 days and then you're going to stop. I want you to meditate for 1 minute a day, 1 minute, because everybody's got a minute. And you build the habit. And when you build that habit, then you'll grow." I had people in my community where they say, "Okay, I'm going to meditate for a minute a day," and then they'll go 17 minutes, right? So that's over the 10. That's what happens. I had somebody who wanted to do yoga, and I said, "Don't try to make yourself do yoga every day." I said, What do you want to average in your yoga?" They said, "About 30 minutes." And I said, "Okay, great. I want you to start with child's pose. That's your minimum. Do as much as you want. Do as much as feels good, but start with just child's pose." And she was able to do that. And some days she would do 40 minutes of yoga, right? Because she was feeling it. And then, so that's the key to being able to stay successful with something is have a minimum in your habits that allows you to sort of show up and keep momentum. I'm going to do a whole other video on momentum because a momentum is something that every successful person has. And you have to learn how to develop momentum. That's a whole thing. So there's two parts if you really want to start to break through and achieve your goals. There's the thing that most people aren't doing that you need to do is you need to work on the feelings and the blocks underneath. What are the things that are actually stopping you? And to identify those and see them and start to pay attention to them and work through them. And, everything on my channel is devoted in some way or another to how to work through these intense feelings that you're up against. Because I guarantee you that if you're stopped in pursuing your dream, you are stopped because you have a strong feeling that you don't want to feel. And so for me, I can't do it is hi, good to see you. Welcome. The I can't do it stopped me for decades. And I'm sure for some of you, when you're talking about living your dreams, you have been stalled for decades or years, right? And that's sure sign of a block. There's something in the way. And what it means is it's too threatening for you to succeed on this level. There's something about succeeding on that. So I have to live under the idea that I'm a loser. Now, 23 years ago, no, how long has it been? No, I'm sorry, only 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I broke through my earning threshold. I was only earning about $50,000 a year. And then I broke through that block that was stopping me, that glass ceiling, and I went up to $150,000, $180,000 a year. Right. So that was a big breakthrough. Um, Great. Yes. Well, we're more than happy to have people here every week with us. So good. You can mark it on your calendar, everybody, to make sure you're back here next Thursday, because we're doing this every Thursday. And so far, it's been really great. Um, so, and so this living your dreams, see, this is what I did last time when I made a short film, is I said, I got to make a short film, and that's going to be the key. And it wasn't the key. Everybody's telling me, you got to make a short film, you got to do it. You got to get out there and you do it. You got to face your fears. Uh, I agree. You have to face your fears. You have to work on the blocks underneath, because otherwise you're just trying to push and force your way through. So when you work on your blocks and also take action, that is the powerful combination, because the taking of the action brings up all the feelings, but the feelings are the real thing. That's what you have to be working on and feeling your way through. So as I'm working on this short film, right, and there's so much to do. I mean, I don't understand, people don't understand filmmaking all that well and how much there is to do. But like, when you are making a film, there's 7,000 things to think of, things that you wouldn't make. So I did a lot of like commercials on a golf course, and you think, okay, a golf course, easy. You go there and you get a golf cart and you get some golf. It's like those things aren't there. I mean, they're there, but they're not there for you to shoot. So you have to make sure golf carts are there. You have to make sure there's a guy wearing golf clothing. You have to make sure there's a guy who has golf clubs and tees and balls and all of the stuff. And it takes a lot to manage. So for this short film, I've got like 35 boxes from Amazon in my in my laundry room, and they're piling up, right? Because every day I think of new things that I go, oh, I forgot about that. I need to order that. We need to have that prop on hand, from fake blood to, to like a military vest and all these things, right? So there's a lot to do and a lot to think about. And as I do it, there's a moment where I feel overwhelmed. And this is kind of the important part that I want to share with you. So as you're taking action on your vision, and again, it can be small, what you want to be paying attention to and looking for are the feelings that are coming up, because it's the feelings that you have to heal. That's your real problem. The real problem is not your abilities or your artistic sensibilities or any of that. You are not deficient, I assure you, right? If you have this sort of dream in your heart, you're not going to suck at it, right? That's generally the case. It's really more a matter of, can you show up for it? And most people cannot show up for it. And so that's what this training is for, is how to show up for it. But then not just do it, but how to heal the emotions so that you can do it continuously. Because when I do my whole video on momentum, it's that continuous action that is what actually makes the difference. So here's what I'll do. I'll sort of explain how this happens, and then we'll do like a little meditation for those of you who are interested. Okay. So I'm ordering, and then I go, oh my gosh, this is happening in 4 days. I'm not going to get this all done. Or this part of the film isn't figured out. What am I going to do? I don't know how I'm going to light this part. And that feeling comes up of, I can't do it. And so in that moment, and this is what I sort of want to train you to all to do in that moment, because I'm in my flow, I'm doing things, and then all of a sudden I get seized. But this is my whole life. I lived my whole life in paralysis around this. I'm not going to be able to do it when the time comes. And so what I do now is I pause and I stop and I go straight to that feeling, because the feeling's the issue. I go, okay, I can't do it. So I pause and I get quiet and I listen and I allow myself to feel that feeling. Most of the time, what people do, myself included, is we brace ourselves against the feeling and we try to act in spite of the feeling and just push it down and try to make it go away. This does not work over the long term. You need a different strategy. And the strategy is this, is you need to take a couple of minutes for this fear that's there, and you need to be with it and work with it until it passes. and then you can get back to work. That's the basic idea. So here comes this feeling, I can't do it. And what is it? It's fear. Okay, good. Here comes this fear. All right. Oh, this fear is in my body. Okay, let me breathe into that fear. Okay, so it's in my back, it's in my chest. And it's always good when you're being with a part and a feeling and you're trying to be in reality to get into your body to feel exactly where the feeling is. So it's like, okay, it's this kind of terror and it's this kind of gripping in my chest and in my back. And I've also noticed that when I do this, it's like it does wonderful things for my posture, which is also a good sign that I'm getting into alignment with the universe, right? My posture opens up because I'm going into these feelings. And I sit there with it, and I sit there with the fear. And because I'm a little bit practiced at it now, because I've been working with this part, it's like the fear starts to calm down and feel more comforted more quickly. Now, when I started, that was not the case. When I started sitting with that fear, the fear was intense. The fear would take me over, and I'd have to sit with it for maybe a half hour. But that's the sort of job, because the more you sit with it, the more it dissipates. And I'll tell you, I'm the least paralyzed I've ever been in the making of a film. Like, I've gotten very comfortable making commercials. Like, it doesn't stress me out really. But when it's a film, all of a sudden it's like, oh, because my story, my reputation is on the line, yada yada. So that fear is much greater. So there are other feelings that come up too. I'm a loser, right? I'm much more comfortable not succeeding than I am succeeding, because succeeding is not part of the story I was as a kid that I had, right? And so that's one of the barriers. That's one of the blocks, is my nervous system is more comfortable being like, I suck, I'm no good. Can any of you relate to this? There's another one. Oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. That's another great one. That's another great one where it sucks all the energy out of my body. And I'm just like, listless. Does anybody have this? Does anybody, when they're faced with trying to pursue their goals, does anybody have the like, oh, I'm so tired. When I get together with my writing partner, we both get so sleepy, right? Because the resistance, because the parts that are fighting it, they're saying, we don't want you to do this, but why are they fighting it, right? Because something in you really wants to do it. Okay. So what I want to do is I just want to take a moment and let's just sit with this part, because I think it is kind of universal, this I can't do it part. And let's go into this feeling and just be with it together. All right. So if you're in a place where you can, close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Just listen and tune in as best you can. So, okay. So here's this feeling. I can't do it. If you relate to this. Now, you can do another feeling right along with this if you don't relate to it. But a lot of people, when they're faced with their dreams, it's like, it's too much for me. I feel overwhelmed. So I look back and it's like, why did I feel overwhelmed? I had this, psychopathic father who is going to beat me and kill me. So it's like, yeah, a kid's going to be overwhelmed in that situation, terrified. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with terror. So I breathe into that. And so let's go down into our bodies. Let's go down into our stomach. Let's go down into our solar plexus. And let's feel that energy. Feel the energy in your body. Come all the way down into your toes. Feel the calmness in your toes. Your toes are not emotionally dysregulated. You may be dysregulated up here in the top half of your body, but down here in the bottom half of your body, your toes and all that generally are pretty calm, as are your calves, as are your knees. So feel into that calmness. And then as we come back up into our body, come back into your tailbone, feel your tailbone, feel your stomach. As we come back up in here, in this section here is where all the, from your sort of navel to your head, top of your head, that's where all the intense emotions live. So we're looking for that part in you, the little voice, the little scared part of you that says, I can't do it. And for me, it's a terror. And so where is that terror in my body? The terror is here in my solar plexus. It's in my chest. It's in my back. And so I want to breathe into that. I want to allow it to be. That's the most important word. Allow. Allow that feeling to be there. That's all you really have to do. That's the extent of what your responsibility is, because we are not going to heal this ourselves. We're bringing this to the universal, we're bringing this to the God space, to the higher self space. And that energy is what's going to heal this pain and this suffering. So our job is to allow the feeling to be. And as you start to do this, you notice how much you've fought these feelings your whole life. So the answer, of course, is to stop fighting the feelings and allow them to be and breathe. And then it's also good to kind of describe what that feeling feels like. For me, it's almost like that feeling feels like razor blades on my back. Whatever that feels like for you, whether it's electricity or heat, just allow that physical experience to be there and just breathe into it. Okay, so now I said all you have to do is allow it to be, and that's true. And then extra credit, and if this feels good, what you can do is you can bring compassion to this part. Can you see how much this little scared part of you is suffering? How terrified it is? How paralyzed it is? This is why it's difficult for you to take action towards your goals. It's because this part is frozen in terror. So do me a favor, wrap your arms around you if you're not driving, if you're able to, and just hold yourself and hold that scared part of you. Let it feel your physical touch. Now, it doesn't matter whether this part inside of you is accepting or rejecting the love that you're giving it, the compassion that you're giving it. If it's fighting it, that's okay. We allow this feeling to be wherever it needs to be. We're never, ever trying to change it. We're just trying to be there and allow it and support it. That's the key. If you're trying to fix or change your feelings, that's what we've been doing our whole lives. Allowing it to be and then bringing compassion to it. Can you wrap this part that's so terrified? Let it feel your physical touch. Let it feel your hug. Does it feel a little better? If yes, then great. If no, that's okay. Because your job is just to keep giving that part some love until it starts to relax. Because each part inside of us is this part that's alienated from the rest of the world. We're not alienated. We never can be. We are inclusion. We are love and connectedness and togetherness. But these parts of us that experienced trauma when they were younger, they can feel very disconnected. And our job is to help connect them, to bring our love and compassion to them. So give that part another squeeze and hold it and rock it back and forth like a little baby, cradle it. And just feel that love. This is how you work with a part. And the key is, the kind of minimum small thing is just to do this for 5 minutes a day, just to be with that part. So if you find a part of yourself that's brokenhearted and sad, then you learn how to just to be with that part for 5 minutes a day. And over time that will shift. And that aspect of you that's so hard and so frightened and so rock solid stiff, it will start to soften. And that part will start to open up to life and start to trust life a little bit. See, that's one of the things we don't realize is how much we don't trust life. Albert Einstein said there's only one important question to ask in life, and it's this: is the universe for me or is it against me? And for most of us, subconsciously, the universe is against us. We're living in this violent universe that's trying to wipe us out, is what it feels like. And we have to do everything everything we can to survive. And that's the part that we're dealing with, this terrified, scared child that feels like the world is against it and has to survive. It doesn't matter how much money somebody gives you. This isn't going away. The money might help you buy a therapist, but you're still going to have to work with this part. Because even if you have money, you're still going to be like, oh, people only want for my money. People only want me for my money. I can't trust them. This part, money doesn't heal trauma. But trauma can be healed, and that's what sets you free. And that also allows you to make more money, ironically and paradoxically. So just to recap what we said today, if you want to live your dreams, you need to see the parts that are blocking it. You need to get clear. And if you don't know how to do that, you can go down in the description below. I'm available for, a free initial one-on-one consultation. I also have my community, Unblock Your Brilliance. There's links below. You can go and you can start to learn how to identify these parts, how to be with these parts so that they can start to stand to the side so that you can achieve your dreams. And once you're actively doing that, once you're working on the blocks, it's good to take actions. But now the actions are supported by you clearing out the blocks as you go, right? And then that enables it to be more successful. This short film that I'm making is already more successful than any other film that I've done because I'm the most prepared and the most ready and the most emotionally stable that I've been in this process because I haven't been living in fear. Fear has definitely come up, but I would say 90+% of the time I've been in action and not paralyzed, right? And so this is really the thing. So, like I said, on my community, there's a class on how to develop habits. That's like essential in terms of like, how do you start to move forward? And then there's classes on how to clear blocks and how do you clear the blocks as you go. And this is what's going to change the equation so that you don't just repeat it. Because I made so many films and they all ended up, a lot of them I wouldn't finish because I'd get too paralyzed, right? So, that's a danger on this one. But I realized is if I'm going to break through to the next level, I'm going to have to feel all of these feelings that are stopping me and work through them. And I'm having a different experience. And you can too. You can actually finally do those things that deep down you can do, right? Okay, so if you've been here this long, please remember to like and subscribe. And before we stop for today, is anybody who's online have any questions? I was talking and talking. I was in a groove there. I will say this. It's like, the sort of slogan for my channel these days is, success through higher consciousness. And I absolutely want you to be a success. But the thing that I really want for you is to have this enduring happiness inside. I want you to have the success, but this first, the enduring happiness that is unshakable inside of you as the first component of success, that from there you go out and you do all the things that you want to do in life. And so today we talked a little bit about how do you do the things that you want to do in life. Start simple actions. Arthur Ashe, one of my favorite quotes, he was the first African-American to win Wimbledon. And he said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can do. And everybody can do that. And so to start, but then with this new piece of supporting yourself emotionally and dealing with the blocks that are in your way. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm really grateful for those of you that were here, and for those of you who are listening later. It's also great to have you. And I will talk to you all soon. Stay tuned to the channel, and I'll see you. Cheers.